Have you ever paused to wonder why certain men manage to maintain an active, deeply satisfying, intimate life well into their 50s and beyond, while others begin to encounter frustrating challenges like erectile dysfunction? It's not just luck, genetics, or a matter of taking expensive supplements. In fact, there's a small group, roughly 2%, who have quietly uncovered a natural, sustainable way to improve their performance without leaning on quick fixes or miracle pills. What they've found isn't about gimmicks or magic. It's about understanding something fundamental that most men overlook. And here's the surprising part. It's probably not what you think. Imagine an ordinary evening. The room is softly lit, music hums gently in the background, and you and your partner are sharing that unspoken closeness that says the night is going well. Everything seems set for a beautiful, intimate connection until it happens. That thought you wish you could push away. Will everything work this time? It's quiet, almost a whisper in your mind, but it's enough to shift the mood inside you. Suddenly, the calm gives way to doubt, and the more you notice it, the more it grows. And then, almost predictably, things don't go as planned. Frustrating? Absolutely. And if it's happened once, twice, or more, you know the weight it carries. It's not just about the body. It's about confidence, self-image, and the silent pressure that creeps in the next time you're in that situation. Here's the difficult truth. The more you obsess over performance, the harder it becomes to achieve it. The mind, in trying to control the moment, can actually become the very thing that disrupts it. But what if the solution wasn't about forcing your body to comply, but about shifting the way you see the moment entirely? What if there was a path that not only made intimacy easier, but also made it more fulfilling for both you and your partner? Today, we'll explore that path, one backed not only by research and expert insight, but also by the real-life experiences of men who decided to break free from the pressure and rediscover intimacy in a richer, more liberating way. For decades, many have been sold a damaging myth that masculinity is defined by flawless performance in bed, as though a man's worth can be measured by a single physical response. If everything works perfectly, society whispers, you're more of a man. If not, doubts and insecurities come knocking. But let's be brutally honest. Does it really make sense to measure your identity by such a narrow metric? When you step back, you see how absurd that notion is. Yet it's a trap so many fall into without realizing it. The problem is not just physical, it's psychological. The real barrier in countless cases is the mental pressure men place on themselves to avoid failure. A study in the Journal of Sexual Medicine confirms that performance-related anxiety is one of the leading contributors to erectile dysfunction. Stress and the mental weight of expectation can sabotage the very connection you're trying to create. Here's the paradox. The harder you grip, the more control slips away. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter the squeeze, the faster it escapes. So what's the first step to naturally improving performance? It's not about becoming more controlling. It's about letting go. Instead of viewing intimacy as a pass-fail test, begin to focus on the experience itself, the shared connection, the sensations, the joy of simply being in the moment. This shift might sound counterintuitive, but it's in relaxation and presence, not pressure, that genuine pleasure lives. Your masculinity is not defined by whether or not you achieve an erection at a given moment. It's reflected in your ability to connect, to give and receive affection, and to enjoy the shared journey. Think about the last time you and your partner shared intimacy without expectation. Maybe it was through gentle, lingering touches, through the playful exploration of sensations, or even through the closeness of conversation. Those moments, though they may seem small, can carry enormous emotional weight. They can be more intimate and satisfying than the moments we're conditioned to think count the most. Many of the men in that elusive 2% have found their liberation in this shift, moving away from performance as the main goal and toward deeper, varied forms of intimacy. That freedom not only removes pressure, but can rekindle desire in a way no pharmaceutical ever could. Sometimes the real challenge isn't a physical one at all. It's the weight of expectations. So much of male sexuality is framed around the idea of performing well that the pressure itself can block pleasure. Think of the times you've been most at ease with your partner. No rush, no checklist, no clock ticking in your mind. In those moments, things seem to flow effortlessly. This is the mindset worth reclaiming. Intimacy is exploration rather than evaluation. This means broadening the definition of intimacy. Penetration is just one possibility on a much larger map. Touch, sensual massages, oral pleasure, shared laughter, or simply lying together in stillness can all create profound connection. Research in the Journal of Sex Research supports this, showing that couples who engage in varied forms of intimacy, beyond penetration, often report higher satisfaction in their relationships. That's not an accident. It's the result of focusing on connection rather than a single act. Here's a simple, game-changing idea. Replace the thought I must perform with, I'm here to enjoy what we share. When you do, your body often responds naturally, free from the invisible weight of expectation. This is where your partner's role is essential. Many men assume their partners have towering expectations about performance, but often what they value most is presence, calm, unhurried attention, and emotional closeness. I've spoken with many women who say the most attractive moments are when their partner is fully present, touching with intention, and allowing space for the moment to unfold. When both people relax, the energy shifts and genuine intimacy emerges. Practical tips can help set this atmosphere. Music, for example, is a powerful mood setter. Research from McGill University shows that listening to pleasurable music can increase dopamine, the feel-good hormone, which supports a relaxed, connected state. The next time you're with your partner, consider creating a playlist of gentle, inviting tracks to play in the background. You might be surprised how quickly the mood deepens. Communication is another cornerstone. Too often, men avoid discussing their concerns for fear of disappointment or embarrassment. But a calm, honest exchange can dissolve tension. You don't need a grand speech. Sometimes just saying, I'm enjoying this, but I'd like to take it slow, or let's try something different tonight, can create a sense of partnership in the experience. Far from being a mood killer, these moments of openness can deepen trust and make intimacy more meaningful. The mental shift here is profound. You're no longer approaching intimacy as a high-stakes test. You're approaching it as a space to share, to explore, and to enjoy without judgment. And ironically, when the pressure is gone, the physical responses you've been chasing often arrive more easily, because your mind is no longer working against you. Communication in a relationship is like the quiet current beneath a river, unseen at times, but it's what allows everything above to move forward smoothly. Without it, the water grows stagnant. In intimacy, this current becomes even more essential. Yet when it comes to vulnerable topics like erectile difficulties, many men find themselves tightening their lips, choosing silence as though ignoring the subject will somehow make it vanish. But the reality is silence often makes the challenge heavier. It breeds misunderstanding, creates invisible walls, and allows anxiety to quietly grow in the shadows. When the issue remains unspoken, both partners end up making assumptions, and assumptions are fertile ground for doubt. Ironically, a few honest words, spoken with calm sincerity, can often dissolve weeks, months, or even years of unspoken tension. The truth is, you don't need to be eloquent or have the perfect phrases prepared. You're not delivering a dramatic speech, you're simply opening a door. By telling your partner, without dramatics or self-blame, I've been experiencing something, and I want to share it with you. You shift the dynamic entirely. You create an atmosphere of trust where your partner can step closer instead of feeling shut out. And more often than not, you'll discover that their reaction is softer, more understanding, and more compassionate than you feared. Many women and men find honesty far more attractive than an attempt to hide behind forced confidence. Research backs this up. Studies published in the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy show that couples who openly discuss sexual challenges not only report higher satisfaction, but also see tangible improvements in their intimate lives. It's not magic. It's the natural result of dissolving the cloud of unspoken tension. When both people are on the same page, they stop wasting energy wondering what the other is thinking, and that mental space can be redirected toward exploring connection in new, more fulfilling ways. This conversation can be the beginning of a shared journey, where instead of secretly searching for solutions alone, you explore them together, hand in hand. Listening is as vital as speaking. Once you open the conversation, ask your partner how they feel, what they enjoy, what moments make them feel most connected to you. Every person is unique, and assuming you already know exactly what they want can close doors instead of opening them. By inviting their voice into the process, you create intimacy on two levels, emotional and physical. And when those two align, the experience in the bedroom changes in ways that no technique or supplement could ever replicate. One of the most overlooked truths about intimacy is that control is often regained not by forcing an outcome, but by surrendering to the moment. Yet so many men unintentionally rush their experiences, driven by an invisible timer in their minds. They focus so heavily on the end result, on whether everything happens as it's supposed to, that they disconnect from the sensations happening in real time. This creates a mental distance, and ironically, that distance is what robs them of the very control they're trying to hold on to. Slow intimacy is not just romantic, it's practical. When you shift your attention to the textures, the warmth of your partner's skin, the subtle changes in their breathing, the way their body responds to your touch, you anchor yourself in the present. In that presence, your body is no longer being commanded to perform. It's allowed to respond naturally. Extending foreplay is one of the simplest and most effective ways to achieve this. Gentle kisses that linger, deliberate caresses that move slowly across the body, quiet conversations that keep you connected. These are not preliminaries to get out of the way. They are part of the experience itself. The longer you spend here, the more trust and relaxation build between you, and the more your body and mind work together instead of against each other. This is where unlearning becomes essential. Many men have grown up absorbing the message that intimacy is a mission to complete, a sequence with a clear starting point and an obligatory ending. But when you look deeper, the real magic often happens in the so-called in-between moments, the moments without a finish line, where there is no hurry, no checklist, no external measure of success. When you treat intimacy as a journey instead of a race, your partner feels the difference, and so do you. Yet intimacy is not only shaped by the mind, it's also influenced by the body's fuel. What you eat in the hours and days before a shared moment can quietly affect how your body responds. The connection between nutrition and sexual performance is closer than most people realize. Food impacts circulation, hormone balance, energy levels, all crucial factors in sexual function. A heavy, greasy dinner before intimacy is a bit like pouring thick syrup into a finely tuned engine. It slows everything down, both physically and mentally. The encouraging news is that small, consistent adjustments to your diet can make a noticeable difference. Leafy greens like spinach are rich in natural nitrates, which help improve blood flow, a vital element for maintaining healthy erections. Berries such as blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries are packed with antioxidants that support the health of your blood vessels, helping circulation stay strong. Nuts, especially walnuts and almonds, deliver omega-3 fatty acids that benefit your cardiovascular system and keep your energy levels steady. Even a small square of quality dark chocolate, at least 70% cocoa, can dilate blood vessels and enhance circulation, making it both a pleasure and a health ally. Fatty fish like salmon, tuna, and mackerel are another powerful addition to your diet. Rich in omega-3s, they not only support blood flow, but also help the body produce nitric oxide, a key molecule in achieving and maintaining erections. Even humble garlic, despite its strong aroma, contains compounds that improve circulation. Watermelon, surprisingly, holds an amino acid called citrulline, which relaxes blood vessels in a way similar to certain medications, yet it does so naturally, without side effects. This doesn't mean you need to turn into a health fanatic or abandon your favorite meals forever. It's about balance and intention. Limiting heavily processed foods, refined sugars, and excessive alcohol can help more than most men expect. These substances don't just dampen sexual performance, they also sap energy and mood. Instead, think of your pre-intimacy meal as part of the experience itself. A light salad with fresh greens and grilled fish, or a small plate of fruit and nuts, will leave you feeling energized instead of sluggish. Over time, these choices don't just support a better sex life, they elevate your overall vitality, mood, and self-confidence. But even the healthiest body can be undermined by one quiet saboteur: stress. It seeps in, unnoticed, gathering from work deadlines, financial concerns, family responsibilities, and the constant buzz of daily life. Slowly, it winds itself into your nervous system until it begins to influence not just your thoughts, but your physical responses. Stress releases cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, and when cortisol levels stay high for too long, it acts like an emergency brake. Slowing or even halting certain bodily functions it deems non-essential in survival mode. Unfortunately, sexual function is one of the first areas to be affected. The result is a vicious cycle. Stress makes intimacy more difficult, and the difficulties in intimacy create more stress. Breaking this loop requires not just physical strategies, but mental ones as well. Simple, intentional practices can calm the body and re-establish the natural mind-body connection that intimacy thrives on. One of the most accessible is mindful breathing. Deliberate, slow inhalations and exhalations that signal to your body that it's safe to relax. Taking just 5 minutes to breathe deeply, inhaling to a count of 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, can switch your body from a state of tension to one of openness. Visualization is another powerful tool. By closing your eyes and imagining a place where you feel deeply at peace, a quiet stretch of beach, the dappled shade of a forest, the still air of a mountaintop, you can pull your mind away from daily pressures and back into a calmer state. Pair this with progressive muscle relaxation, where you tense and release each muscle group in turn, and you give both your body and mind a reset. These are not abstract wellness ideas. They are practical skills that directly influence your ability to relax during intimacy. In the end, reducing stress isn't just about clearing your head, it's about making space for genuine connection. When the background noise of worry fades, the natural rhythms of intimacy re-emerge. And in that space, your body can do what it's designed to do without being pushed, forced, or monitored. This is where performance anxiety loses its grip, replaced by the quiet confidence of being present, attuned, and open to the moment. There is a truth about relationships that too often slips beneath the surface. The person who chooses to share their life with you is not there solely for what happens under the sheets. Yes, physical intimacy matters, but it is not the singular pillar holding the entire relationship upright. What truly sustains closeness over years, what makes a partnership rich, resilient, and deeply satisfying, is the emotional connection, the trust built over countless conversations and shared moments, the attentiveness to each other's needs, both spoken and unspoken. And yet, many men, when they face difficulties in their sexual performance, carry the silent fear that they are somehow less than in their partner's eyes. This belief can quietly chip away at confidence, creating a self-fulfilling loop of anxiety and distance. But if you look closely, you'll see that for most partners, especially women, the emotional bond is the heart of attraction. They are drawn not just to the physical act itself, but to the feeling of being truly seen, valued, and cherished. When you strip away the noise of expectation and pressure, what remains is often far more meaningful. Your partner may find more fulfillment in your ability to be fully present, listening attentively to what excites them, asking about their desires without assuming you already know, responding to their emotional cues as much as their physical ones, than in any textbook definition of performance. It is in these acts of presence and care that intimacy deepens and takes root in ways that physical mechanics alone cannot achieve. This doesn't mean ignoring the sexual side of the relationship. Rather, it means weaving it into a much larger fabric, where affection, trust, and shared vulnerability are threads of equal importance. Think about a time when you and your partner felt especially close. Maybe it was during a quiet evening at home, sharing stories from the day, or during a trip when the two of you were far from routine and could simply enjoy each other's company without distraction. In those moments, the physical connection is enhanced precisely because the emotional foundation is strong. The more attention you give to building that foundation, the less any single moment of difficulty matters. When a relationship is rooted in mutual respect, affection, and curiosity, it becomes far more forgiving, and any pressure you once felt to prove yourself begins to fade. Reframing intimacy in this way transforms not just the bedroom experience, but the entire relationship dynamic. Suddenly, you're no longer chasing perfection, you're cultivating connection. You stop treating each encounter as a pass or fail test and start seeing it as a shared exploration, where the journey matters as much as any destination. This shift opens the door to greater freedom, creativity, and playfulness. And ironically, when the weight of expectation is lifted, performance often improves naturally because the mind is no longer an obstacle. It's a partner in the process. The beauty of this approach is that it empowers both you and your partner to co-create your intimate life. Instead of being trapped in a one-sided effort to fix something, you can invite them into the process, exploring new ways to connect that feel good for both of you. This might mean experimenting with different forms of touch, creating new rituals that set the mood, or even setting aside specific times for intimacy that are free from distraction and obligation. Over time, these shared experiences become a tapestry of positive associations, replacing the old pattern of anxiety and uncertainty with one of anticipation and joy. But beyond techniques and strategies, there's an even deeper invitation here, to treat intimacy as part of your overall well-being. The same principles that strengthen your sex life, healthy communication, balanced nutrition, stress management, presence, and emotional connection, also strengthen your mental health, physical vitality, and day-to-day happiness. When you nurture one area, the others begin to flourish as well. A small change, whether it's choosing a lighter dinner before an intimate evening, taking 10 minutes to meditate in the morning, or simply sending your partner a thoughtful message during the day, can ripple outward in ways that surprise you. It's worth remembering that no relationship is free from challenges. Even the most passionate couples will face moments where things don't go as planned. But these moments don't have to define you. They can become opportunities to grow closer. When approached with openness, patience, and compassion, both for yourself and for your partner, they can deepen the trust and love between you. A stumble can become a shared story rather than a private shame, a moment that strengthens your bond instead of weakening it. The path forward is not about becoming someone you're not. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself that have been buried under stress, fear, and unrealistic expectations. It's about remembering that intimacy is not a performance. It's a conversation between two bodies, two minds, and two hearts. When you enter that space with curiosity instead of pressure, the experience changes. Your partner feels it, you feel it, and the connection that follows has a way of spilling into every other aspect of your life. If you've read, or in this case, listened this far, it's a sign that you take your growth seriously. That commitment is something to honor. Change rarely happens in one leap. It's more often the result of small, consistent choices that compound over time. Maybe it's choosing to be more open with your partner about how you're feeling. Maybe it's slowing down during intimacy and savoring each moment without rushing. Maybe it's taking better care of your body through the food you eat or the way you manage stress. These are the kinds of shifts that don't just solve a problem. They reshape your experience of yourself and your relationship entirely. This conversation is not just about intimacy. It's about the quality of your life. Every positive change you make in how you relate to your partner, how you care for your body, and how you manage your mind has a way of reflecting back in the love and joy you share. And that's the ultimate goal. Not just better sexual performance, but a richer, more connected, and more fulfilling life. So as you step forward from here, carry this perspective with you. See intimacy not as an obligation or a test, but as a shared space for connection, exploration, and pleasure in all its forms. Let go of the idea that your worth is measured by any single moment, and instead focus on building the kind of relationship where both you and your partner feel valued, understood, and desired for exactly who you are. In that kind of space, the rest tends to take care of itself. And if you find this perspective valuable, don't keep it to yourself. There may be someone in your life, whether a friend, a brother, or even a colleague, who is quietly carrying the same worries you've had. Sometimes, hearing a new way of thinking can be the first step toward relief and change. Share these ideas, not as a lecture, but as an invitation, a reminder that no one has to carry the burden of performance anxiety alone. Because in the end, the richest relationships are not built on flawless execution. They are built on trust, shared joy, and the willingness to face challenges together. And when you and your partner meet each other in that space, you find that the moments of intimacy you share are no longer weighed down by pressure, but lifted by something far more powerful: connection.